Well, hello there. If you're a new player to Final Fantasy XIV, today I have some guild-saving methods for you that are going to avoid you figuratively putting your money on fire right in front of you. So let's get right into it. My first tip is regarding the retainers, which you get some part into the MSQ. These are what you'll use to sell things on the market board. What you can do is talk to the retainer vocates, and they will tell you about the market tax. The market tax is a seller's tax specifically, and you can see that we have a normal tax rate in Limsa, Gridania, Ul'dah. Meanwhile, the tax is reduced in Ishgard, Kugane, Crystarium, and Ul'Sharlayan. Now, what this means in practice is that when you're selling an item, instead of paying 5% on whatever you sell, you're now only paying 3%. Now, this might not sound like a lot, but if you're going to sell 10 million worth of things on your market board over the course of you playing the game, which is entirely realistic for the average player, then you're going to essentially burn 200,000 worth of gil for no reason at all. All you have to do to fix this is to go to whatever city has a reduced tax rate and then select dispatch a retainer to whatever city you're at by talking to the local retainer vocate. And this doesn't affect where you can access your retainers or anything. We're currently in Limsa, my retainers are in Ul'Sharlayan, so I can still go here, sell items, and you see we still benefit from the reduced tax rate. The next mistake that I see a lot of people make, and I think we're going to find some evidence of that right here, is people selling things on the market board at a price that is below the vendor price, or buying things on the market board that they could get from a vendor somewhere else. You go to the market board and we search for demi materia, for example. We'll find a list of items that have a relatively high price. We can see the price if you hover the item. For example, this one sells for 500 gil. If we click on this one, for example, we already see a bunch of people selling this item at a price that is below the vendor price. This person right here is effectively losing 201 gil, not to mention they're going to have to pay a seller's tax on top of this. But very often you can find items that are worth more if you just vendor them. Another thing you should be on the lookout for is if you're buying gear, if you really have to use the market board to do that, which I don't recommend in the first place unless you're buying the latest crafted gear at high level. If you hover over an item, you'll get a shop selling price in a lot of cases if this item is sold in a shop. So for example, we can see the Saiga skin Code of Vending right here has a shop selling price of 43,713 gil. If we bought this on the market board for more than that, we would be losing money. You can see a lot of people actually put this up for a lower price. But if we go into the price history, I'm willing to bet that some people overpaid. This is a less dramatic example. This one right here has a shop selling price of 41,000. There's currently one up for 220,000. These are people trying to fleece you. This is an item that you can get in a shop. Look for what prices these are selling for. The next tip I want to give you has to do with the stack sizes. If you want to sell, let's say, the stack of 73 sylph green dye, of course you could put up the entire stack of 73 sylph green dye. But let's be real here. Who is going to need a stack of 73 sylph green dye? They must have something really extraordinary planned, because if they are buying 73 sylph green dye, I want to see what they come up with. Realistically, most people are going to buy 5 pots, 10 pots. Maybe they'll pay for 10 pots, even though they might not even need it. But there is an upper limit. Nobody's going to buy 73 of sylph green dye, an entire stack pretty much, and just have it rot in the inventory. So what you want to do is you want to go put up for sale and just put up smaller stack sizes. Put up 5 of them, 10 of them, and just sell them in these quantities instead of selling them in an entire stack. This is true for different items in the game. Think about which items this is useful for, which items are usually bought in smaller quantities, and keep in mind there are also things that are bought in larger quantities, like cheap crafting materials. This way, I promise you, you're going to sell things faster, and you can probably put them up at a higher price as well. Another tip if you're trying to sell on the market board is regularly updating prices on your retainers. What you want to do is you want to go and select adjust price, compare prices, and we can see that somebody has undercut me by some gil. Now what we want to do is we want to undercut him in return. My item is still profitable. I don't care if I sell at this price. It doesn't really matter to me. I can put this up for 898 gil, and we've undercut him by 1 gil. Now, what you want to pay attention to is that you don't start undercutting by hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, because what you're doing is effectively crashing the market. And let me tell you, there are some people who, if you undercut them by too much gil, they will flip out and they will crash the market forever. We can keep reducing the price of this by 1 gil, every day whenever we update the prices, and it doesn't really matter to me. Okay, this item is still profitable. Eventually someone's going to come in and buy up all of the stacks, and we're just going to start the whole thing again because the price is going to rise again. So just undercut responsibly. Something else you want to keep in mind is that you don't have to sell at the price that other people dictate. If you know that an item is historically worth more than it's going for right now on the market board, just take it off of the market board. You can store it in a retainer in your inventory for a while, just put it up again in a week or two. If you know that the item isn't worth as much anymore, just reduce the amount you have on the market board, wait for a better time, sell less, and just come back a different time. The next thing you want to use is the Marketboard Favorites list. You click here, you can select favorites, and you get a list of items that you can sell on the market board. And the way that I use this myself is, as a crafter and gatherer, I put up items that I know I can gather or craft really easily, and just use this to track their price over time. So for example, I know that I can get a ton of Mornvale tree bark really easily, and I've put it up here so I can track the price and know whenever it is profitable. All you gotta do to add an item is go up here, search for whatever item you want to add, and then just right click add to favorites. Now these last two tips are for people who've leveled crafters and gatherers and they are at max level, but it's free gil nonetheless that some people are just missing out on. And this has to do with using your leaves. What you want to do is go into your journal, and at the bottom right it will say allowances. These are leaf quest allowances. Basically how many leaf quests you can do. And ideally you never want to let these cap, because these are essentially just free gil. There's a quest here in Australian where if we talk to this guy, we select tradecraft leaves. There's a quest here called the Mountain Steeped, where we have to turn in 3 Saitu Venu and we get 10,000 gil. It says 5,000 here, but because we turn in a high quality item, we're going to get 10,000. Now Saitu Venu, we could craft it, but in my opinion, it's a waste of time. The better way of doing this is by simply buying it on the market board. On the market board, if we buy 3 of these, we're going to pay roughly, 5,000 gil for 3 of them. Of course, it depends on the market board. The second I make this video, there's going to be some people putting this up for more. So keep that in mind. Just make sure you're profitable. And you take this tea and you accept the quest. And all you got to do is run over to this guy and turn this in. And we're going to get 10,000 gil right here. So you see, we just doubled our gil. And all it costs us is the allowances. So make sure you use your allowances whenever they come up. I just come here every now and then and do 10 of these whenever I'm in a queue or something. And it's really not that bad. You don't have to do all 100 of these in one go. You can just come back whenever the leaf quest reset. And this is just free gil that is stable. You don't have to rely on the market board. And again, I advise against crafting this yourself because it's a fairly low margin item. This last tip here is for those of you who are gatherers. And you don't even have to be a max level gatherer for this. Basically, we're going to collect treasure maps. If you click down here onto your timers, you'll see that you have a daily map allowance, and mine is available right now. This isn't anything to do with doing the treasure maps. This is about gathering a treasure map. Basically, every player can gather a treasure map once per day. And the way you want to do it is, if we want to get a level 70 treasure map, a level 80 treasure map, or a level 90 treasure map, we just go to a node corresponding that level. So at this node, we're going to get a level 70 treasure map. We're going to see we have one right here. What you want to check is that it's an 8-player one, because these usually go for higher prices. So if you don't see the item right away, just keep using Luck of the Pioneer on different nodes until you get the one that you want. This is going to uncover hidden items. We got this one automatically. We go and gather it, and that's our treasure map for the day. And these go from anywhere between 20,000 gil to sometimes up to 70,000 gil. Let me show you. So here we are back at our retainer. I'm going to put this item up on the market board. You can see this is currently going for 37,000 gil. So basically in like 1 minute, we've made 37,000, how much was it? 398 gil. And these always sell. I don't think these are going to stay in your inventory any amount of time. These are going to sell within a day pretty much all the time. What's important is that you don't just want to do the max level treasure maps, because very often the ones that are more profitable are actually the level 60, 70, and 80 maps. What you can do is, for example, use the tip that I gave you beforehand with the favorites list to favorite the treasure maps, just figure out which one is the most expensive in the day, and then just go and gather that, and it's just a free 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 gil every single day, and that can be huge for a player that only has a limited amount of time to play, doesn't want to craft or gather too much. It's a very low time commitment, and it's just super easy. These were my most important tips. Lastly, I have a big question for you guys. This was a more low effort video than the ones that I usually make. I basically did this one completely without script and recording it as I go. Basically, I want to dial back the amount of scripted content that I do a little bit, because people have said that they enjoy the more casual style a bit more. It does lead to slightly longer videos, but also I think I can talk more freely, and often it just creates some funny situations that I can edit in, which I don't really get whenever I write a script. So let me know your thoughts on this down below. If this was helpful, leave a like, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Peace.